What if they die on this thing? Because you know what? They're not at the place where I am. You know what children are? They can be a bit irritating. They just come to church. No, I'm studying. But without God, you can't, you know. No, I'm studying, right? Matric. So it's okay, go study. So you look at this and you'll see the brain of the toxic memory. That is a dissection of the human brain showing right now how toxic the human brain is for the young student that carried the idolatry, the lies, the strife, the fornication, the wrath. It began to store things in his mind that actually got him to a place of death. He died. So you are looking at a toxic memory that kills individuals. Now, what do you see? I look at this. What do you see it as? What do you see in this picture? Come on, anyone? I like people to get involved in my seminars. Come on, I know you're learning. You listen.
You can see black spots on that. Black spots.
Okay, cool. Those black spots are like the black fruit. Anyone bit into a rotten fruit? Yeah. No, at least you true, brother. God bless you. Some people never share. Anyone bit into a rotten fruit? It looks so lovely on the shelf. Then you look so lovely, got a big orange like me. And then you cut it, it's like an orange, like red inside. I was what to say. Don't they inject you with needle, they put the HIV. You know how people go. Have anyone bit into it?
Yes.
Cool. So, that's right. Oh, that's even better. Worms came out. So imagine when you are storing things that you don't want to forget into your human mind, you're actually disconnecting from who? Abba Father. I'm going to prove to you today, Abba Father gave me a spiritual vision in a supernatural place, how your brain is made, and John 15. Come on, open it. John chapter 15. If you can't see it, okay, I'm just hiding, right? You don't need to see me, I'm going to read to you. Open to John 15. Anyone here sleepy? Say amen. Amen. So you're sleeping. I know you saw.
Good God.
It's good to have fun. As I am dissecting, I'm putting the joy of the Lord in you. The joy of the Lord is your strength in your weakness right now. You are actually being activated out of your weakness, and the joy of the Lord is becoming your strength. So your strength to pull you out of every toxic memory, toxic things that you have actually invoked into your temple and caused a meltdown, a shutdown, and schizophrenia, or bipolar, whatever you're going through this morning, I want to tell you that it's all demonic and it's not of God. I prove to you in scripture that Jesus does not make mad people. You're not mad. So whoever said that to you, whoever gave you things and did things to you, they're actually mad. They need help. In fact, you must recommend them to me. When you look at John 15, verses 1, it says, now Matthew 3:10 says, put the axe to the root. That's your reference, so you can write it down and go home and read it. John 15, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. I'm going to read verse 3 again. Are you all alive? Are you listening? So if you're listening, you'll catch up. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. As I am speaking the word over your life, there's a spiritual clean up taking place in your mind. He says, I am the vine. Doesn't this look like branches?
Yes.
Your brain, the nerve. And doesn't this look like fruit? Black fruit, it's all rotten, gabu, stinking, smelling. And you wonder why you're feeling dizzy. Headache, ma, this paining, and me rub 24 hours. And he's paining, must only rub your head. No, neck. The central nervous system is so powerful. It's like, anyone ate a lollipop here? Oh, you know how dangerous it is when you bang your head on the wall? Take a lollipop and take it. By the way, your neck is the stem. That's why I call the brain a lollipop. It's because your brain and your head is actually on a neck. You're like a lollipop. So when you take yourself and bang, kill myself, you're stupid, you're doing more damage to yourself. You're going to go off your head. You know why you do that? It's because you're carrying such toxic fruit. What you sow into the roots. For example, if you're a compulsive liar, you are the farmer of your land.
Yeah.
Come on, I said this in the heart of man.
Yes.
Why am I saying that you're the farmer of your land? What you made of? Anyone?
Dust.
Cool, dust. He said, let us make man in our image. And he took you from where? The earth that he created. So where you all came out of? Sandstones, branches. Cool, huh? Imagine you walking, talking sand. And then God just bread, and suddenly flesh came upon us.
Amen.
Imagine we're just like out of it, trees and branches and broken out of the earth, and suddenly these branches begin to grow. Fingers. Yay. That's why he said you are like green trees planted by the water, the river. What is water? Come on. Exactly. Now, what did I tell you about water, how powerful it is? Come on. It seems that you haven't been listening. Water is life. Life is the word. Can you live without water?
No.
You can't, you'll die. So, the type of seed that you put into your root, bad moods, you know why? No one went back to the age of 2 and dealt what a child had gone through. Irrespective, it could be your mother sitting here, your father sitting here, and you got such anger and frustration against them at their old age, but no one went to them. You're judging them. But what did you do to make things right in your life? You see, God sent a teacher, because I went out into the world. I went out all over Africa, everywhere, and I saw cases, terrible, terrible cases, where young girls cutting themselves, pastors' daughters, granddaughters, grandsons, trying to commit suicide. And these guys that you meet, you look at them, they got everything, man. They're driving top cabs in Joburg. They're so handsome. You wonder why, got a cute girlfriend. If she was like a gremlin, that's another story. But she's so beautiful. You want to jump off a bridge. You want to drive your car into a truck. Then you begin to ask questions. Where did this originate from? Your foundation. You see, a child's phase is a foundational phase. What you invest into that child is exactly how that child is going to grow in stages, and at that adult stage, that child was never a child. Because in the transformation of that child's journey, this child carried from the roots a seed that you planted negatively. And then you wonder, how come children are such good roots standing? It's because the dad will wake up in the morning and say, good morning, my beautiful baby. I love you so much. Why? Because he went to the mercy seat. Abba Father taught him how to get rid of all the toxic negativity that was sown into his life from his father, from his forefather, from his generation of the 4th to the 10th generation. Exodus 20. The sins of the father and mother will fall on the children. It's done, proven. Matthew 3:10, put the axe to the root. Does it say no? Put the axe to the branch. Where you have to go? to the foundation. Because what's sown in that foundation? Some parents give their children Jesus, but the children do not see the intimacy. They do not see the relationship of Jesus and that father and Jesus and that mother. To top of all, you're getting bullies in your own family and you're wondering why there's bullies out there. Your brother say, hey, I'll kill you now. Go get my stuff. You want me to hit you? I'm bigger than you. I'm on now. You will listen to me. I'll hit you. No respect. So what happens? Suddenly you see a young child so traumatized. Have you seen that? Where a child has to lay hands on the mother or the father and start taking the place of the mother and father. Roles being reversed. Because a father is so toxic to surrender himself before God and say, Father, I've allowed sin to enter in. I heard it, Father. I'm dealing with this snapshot, this camera shot. Anyone got albums, old albums? I got. Anyone?
Yeah.
I got a lot. I got a lot. I love photos. I like memories. Anyone got old photos? It's like that. Your brain is so powerful, it captures that moment and stores it in the storage of your brain. And it keeps it there. And as it begins to grow, it turns into a contaminated seed. Now, in the biological world, it means axons and neurons. Any biology students? They are axons and neurons. When you look at them, they're like fruits sticking out of the branches. When you see the orange fruit, it means it's a healthy memory. You know how powerful right now this is when I'm talking to you. That's what the Word of God says. And now, by the Word of God, you're made clean. Verse 3 of John 15. Because as I'm speaking the Word, you're building on one branch that is toxic. And as you say, look, you know what, I'm opening Pandora's box and you're actually going back to that moment. For example, if you're raped at that point, or you were molested at 5 or 6 or 8 or 9, that moment is captured. If a guy breaks you, promises you things, lies to you, violates you, if a woman violates you, promises you things, says she loves you, what happens? Immediately you break down because you got a toxic entry point because you received it. Then you tell him, Ma, you tell your mother, I'll kill myself. You're cutting, but you're not dying. You're afraid. But some people have killed themselves. And do people who kill themselves go to God?
No.
Say it loud. No. So, by the thought of suicide, do you believe that you're sowing seeds? Yes. Do you know the brain is the only organ in the body, in the human anatomy, that when you're sleeping, even when you're sleeping, your brain is working. That's how powerful it is. So imagine the working capacity of that brain. It's like, so, like I said, put your hands together. Come on. First, wrong side. This way. Okay. You can see long I use the mic. I'm not a mic person. I've got a loud voice. So this is your brain. Can you see my brain shaking?
No.
Not shaking.
No.
Why? Because that's the power of God. When He created you in perfect synergy and harmony. He never put a shockwave there. You know, like how you see nowadays, they put the shock. God didn't do that. God is so powerful and so unique in His way that when He created you in the perfect harmony and synergy. Meaning, nothing toxic. He created you in His perfect design. Guess who became like the Chinese? You and I. Immediately, when someone told you, "You're so black, you'll amount to nothing," you get a right and a left brain. Immediately, when you're hitting a child and the child is crying, for 2 hours, and you get a lollipop and bluff it, immediately it starts going out of synergy before no time. You wonder why you're losing your mind, because you didn't deal with that event. You didn't deal with that toxic memory of what you saw, that fighting between your mother and your father. You saw that fighting, that arguing. You saw that instability when you went to families' houses and your auntie called you a fat pig, you look so stupid, and this, hey, why are you like that? You want so fat, and then suddenly it's going like this here. Then you're on pills. You're on mind-altering substances that comes into South Africa, that is smuggled in with fraud and corruption, that actually you are malfunctioning. The reason why you wonder there is no recovery rate in your body is because God did not create your body to put substances into your body, into your temple. When you look at Galatians 5:19, the acts of a sinful nature, one word, sorcery. Sorcery in the Greek is pharmaceutical, which comes out of the word sorcery. Then you're telling pastor, they put it for me. You saw one line with full thorns, you saw one line with full pins. I'll pick him up and say, "Oh, you're a nice line, man. Then plan my God. Check out all the pins, free pins for my dress." How? Oh, pastor, put it in there, put it. Imagine how quickly the toxic, watch the reaction. It puts your chemicals. Why do you think people have a chemical imbalance? Because I told you in the first seminar that your body is so powerful. Men, you actually producing testosterone levels. Woman, you are producing estrogen. And immediately when your brain is going out of order, out of synergy, you immediately, some of you women, when you're screaming, when you're using vulgarity, when you're speaking your mannerism is pathetic. Let me tell you something, and you start producing lot hair and something, you're going waxing more often than what you used to. I want to tell you something, you are now producing a male hormone called testosterone. You're actually producing your body, you're putting your body into a toxic place of a chemical imbalance, and you're producing these toxic chemicals that are killing you, and that's the reason why. They activate your powerful cells, which is your white blood cells. It overrules them to the place where they can't fight anymore, and it overtakes these cells, and that's the reason why. It activates your cells. We are all born with cancer cells. They all are benign, meaning they are dead. Guess who activates it? You. Exactly. So your mind is going into a chemical imbalance. You are now producing toxic activity in your body. This God is such a perfect God that He made you in the image of God. He made you in His image. He is the perfect designer. He is not the Chinese. Yet even though we got a bit of Chinese in us, but that's why I think we need to break that Chinese or counterfeit, because it's coming from a place. It's not only the Chinese. What about the Charos? How much you got? We're always bargaining. How much you got? No, let's show you experience and we know. If you're selling something for 1 million, let it be 1 million. Not how much you got. Double-minded man. Why are you desperate? You put in a place of desperation. You're not looking at your worth. You're not looking at your value system. You're not looking that, hey, you spend so much of money on this car, and because of desperation, a car that is worth like 400,000, you now say, no, let's sell it for 100,000. Where is the reason in this? And you wonder why you can't save? Why? You got no space for a bank account. Because your bank is filled yet. What you deposit here is exactly what you're going to withdraw. So what have your bank been depositing through your ear gate, your eye gate? If you're watching pornography, let me tell you what you are putting through your eye gate. We gatekeepers are standing at the womb of Africa because we have been given the ability, we have been given such greatness. I thank God I'm born in South Africa. I don't want to go all over the world because I'm carrying the world within me. But I was born in Africa where Jesus walked. What a beautiful place to be. Now I understand why I never go to Israel, even though I wanted so desperately. But the Lord said, you locked in Israel. Israel is locked in you. Why? I told you, when God took you, He took where He grabbed you from the foundations of the earth. He said, let us make man in our image. The earth was already made. There's the earth. Okay, I'll make her smaller. God is above the earth. So there's the earth here at the bottom. God is setting the potter, the clay. He grabbed you from the foundations of the earth. So you got a little bit of China, a little bit of Turkey. That's a wonder why you have to take a Turkey sometimes. You got a little bit of Netherlands. You got a little about Greece. You got a little bit Ireland. That's why there's witches running around like goblins. With long noses and all. Why? You have to get rid of it. God says you are the farmer of your land. Come on, put the axe to the root. Also, if the weed is coming up and growing in your garden, who needs to pluck out the weed? Exactly. So when you look and you see, there's the weeds, the memory. You look at all the branches. I said, Jesus said, I am the vine. You are the branches. Who's the vine dresser? What is the duty of a vine dresser? Let me tell you what's the duty of a vine dresser. Abba Father is the vine dresser. Abba Father, a vine dresser is when you come in and he will examine the farm where your harvest is lying. He'll examine the entire area. He'll examine the entire crop. And everything that is a weed in your farm, Abba Father, when you give him access and say, Lord, I have a problem with pornography. Lord, I have a problem with idolatry. Father, I have a problem with unforgiveness. I have a problem with lies, fornication, alcohol, drugs. And if you are sincere, let me tell you, this Papa doesn't make a mistake. Because when he cuts it off, he'll cut it off once and for all. They are the proof.
Amen.
Because you have to be willing to surrender and give up something. You have to be willing. If you are not willing, I can take you through the process. But you will sit in that toxic place until you get rid of it. So I had last year I had a auntie in the old age home, 97 years old, Auntie Singh. And you know what? I took her through this process, and let me tell you, Auntie Singh was such an intelligent woman. She came out of the medical field. She was a very intelligent woman, a Hindu woman. But I just honored her and loved her, and because of that love, and I used to cook for her and just give her. Out of that love, I began to tell her, you know what? I had the opportunity to lead a 97-year-old to Christ. That's why I'm the most wealthiest woman alive. It's not about what I drive. It's not where I live. It's because of the seeds that I carry, the harvest. You see, my seeds, because of the word of God. The people say, hey, but you know, Pastor Pam, why are you not driving a nice car? Why you gave up your financial management position to go full-time minister to earn zero? How are you doing it? Because Psalm 126 tells me that whatever you sow in your seed, if you're not putting your seed into the ground, I'm telling you, you're not going to get your harvest. If you're not sowing, you're not going to get your harvest. If you haven't been sowing, you haven't been putting your tithe, you haven't been putting your offering, let me tell you, your offering is supposed to overtake your tithe. If you're not doing it, no, what the pastor, don't worry about the pastor. Psalm 126. Psalm 126 is assuring me personally, Pam, you cried, people laughed at you, they mocked you, but you are going to come rejoicing with your sheaves with you behind you. You're going to be rejoicing because you see, when that harvest is about to blow up in front of me, You see, God is going to give me, He's preparing me if I can handle that amount. He's preparing me. So in that secret place of what I'm sowing, if you're sowing your seed right now, what are you sowing into your ground is exactly what you're going to reap. Galatians 6. God is not mocked. Stop mocking Him. For man who sows corruption of his what? Flesh. Shall of his flesh reap corruption. You got some boils? You got some cirrhosis? You got some rashes? What do you have? They are not medically. They are spiritually rooted diseases. They come from here, from your mind, putting it into an imbalance because you're overthinking. Hey, what am I going to do this month? You know, you dig your ear, then you pull in your nose, then you're sitting like, on 3 hours, then 3 years, 10 years. Imagine what you've sowed into your piggy bank. Imagine what you have sowed into your farm. You're the farmer of your farm, of your plantation. What have you sowed into your lives? And today, let me tell you something. There's hope in Jesus Christ. There's the hope of all glory. I believe that someone pastor go out onto the field daily. People say, why are you not in our office? Because I choose not to. I want to be like Jesus. I want to walk amongst them. I want to eat amongst the poor. I did it. I ate amongst people. I sat on the sand and I ate out of a bull brand tin. Guess what? Being a cup that they have never had in an African country. I even ate a mapapani worm that's a delicacy for them. But I had to eat it because what we taught him, what Jesus teaches us, whatever is laid on the table. Peter, eat! Whatever is laid on the table, you can't say, oh. Even though you want to, I want to like drop my whole body there. You can't. You better see the worm. And let me tell you how it tastes. It was yucky and slimy, and they put so much in my plate. That was lucky. 2 months on missions, try it. You don't need to diet. You're lucky and skinny. You're fighting. So many of us, over 160 of us fighting for one gold bread. That's missions. Not sleeping in Swaziland. Sleeping under a bus where there's buffetters. I came from a place to tell you something. That there's a king. There's a somebody that has not been seen in the house of God because he's been misrepresented of who he is. He's the Alpha and Omega. He knows your ending before your beginning. He knows everything about you because you're made in his image.
Amen.
But you have taken the sword of the world. You have taken not even the sword, the daggers of the world, like the Roman soldier that took the sword and pushed it into his side. And water and blood came out. Water represents, I am the resurrection and life. John 10:10. You only look at one part. Hey, pastor, that he only robbing, only killing. No, you're the biggest devil. You are the biggest devil. The devil works for you. The devil is being glorified and we're not going to glorify him no longer. Amen. Jesus is the Star of David. Amen. Jesus is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Who has to take two words I taught you? Accountability, responsibility. For who? For the person sitting next to you. Then I tell you, you've got a judgmental spirit. You need me to lay hands on you, come. I'll pour the whole bottle of oil, it's done. I'll oil you and marinate you in Gethsemane. Because in Gethsemane, your sin was already Yeshua, he drank it. You'll hear me use Yeshua. Yeshua is Hebrew for Jesus Christ, because I teach in the Hebrew. So when you look at it, you'll see, hey, Pastor, why I got this? Pastor, why I got suicidal thoughts? Why? This little bugger called the amygdala. Now I'm getting biological. Bio. So, oh, yeah, the pastor is very intelligent when you look like that. Same pastor is charged for attempted murder. Can God do it in your life? Yeah, go. Are you willing to let go of something? I was willing to let go of something. Why I was charged? Because why? I was toxic. I was watching things that I'm not supposed to be watching around the surroundings. Instead of seeing my mother, there's one word called misunderstanding here that is killing the house of God. Misunderstanding. When you see something that is not true, but you go and fabricate a story of it, and then you cut down the other individual. Fabrication. Please stop listening to it. Because you're going to kill nobody but yourself. So when you look at it, fabrication, one word, misunderstanding. What's a fabrication? Something that is not true. Who's a father of lies? Don't you dare, as a child of God seated here today, if you say you love Jesus, you will not go and talk nonsense and stories about anyone in this house of God. You will start speaking positive from today. Because when you cut anyone down, you're cutting yourself down. When you pulling up, oh, you don't know what she's doing past here. She's after church, she put her shirt thing, and you must see here showing, and she go. But did you ever might look into her life and see there could be a rape there, there could be a violation there, huh? But you're judging her. You want to point your finger at her. But did you ever go to her and tell her, you know, you're so beautiful? Just give her a compliment, not because you have a lustful spirit, because you got Jesus inside of you. Don't go if you got a lustful spirit. Then you're coming to church for women. Go to her with the power of Jesus, because you know what? You've been sitting at the table and Papa has been dissecting to your heart, dissecting your heart. I want to be like you. I want to be like you, Father. Same woman that had an anger issue that bust up everyone in Mirabel. As an ex-gangster, because I didn't know where to vent my anger. That's why I ended up in a psychiatric ward. I wanted an attention of my parents. I wanted my parents to see, hey, I'm alive. Stop your nonsense and start focusing on me. God gave me into your hands. Why you think there is no stability in a home? Because fathers don't know Jesus. Fathers don't know Jesus. Because if you know Jesus, you will discipline your children. You bring them to a place, not kill them, not discipline. You sit them down, you tell them this is wrong. And we learn from the best. I used to kick and boot and all because I was kicked and booted. Look at the toxic. So I repeated whatever was done to me. I thought it was good. Pull their ears, twist it. You're breaking the nerves in the ear, wiping the rims off their head. Busting them, kicking them. Some of the children got inflicted pains because you did it. Not because they're sick. It's because you kicked them and boot them. Some of you don't inflict violence of